Full of action was the previous chapter when we witnessed the beating of the powerful grandmother Seiko at the hands of the muscular bull wearing underwear. Fortunately, Payase and Kashimoto came to the rescue using their respective powers of fire and darkness. Will their strength be enough against this monster whose entire body is made of iron? Let's find out. Let us continue the story in chapter 178, titled The Power of a God. After Payase and Kashimoto demonstrated their powers, they exchanged intense stares with their enemies, the Jiangshi and the bull. Seiko managed to stand up again, albeit weakened, which prompted Payase to ask if she was okay, to which she replied that it felt like she went to the worst osteopathy clinic. Kashimoto said that he understood that, which confused Payase about what exactly he understood, while Seiko warned both of them to be careful, because their enemy's body was made of iron, which meant that when they attack it, it would only become stronger, shocking Payase. The Minotaur shouted that his fortune was great because he encountered 3 powerful personages all at once, which was causing his groin to grow hot. He repeatedly said that it was hot, while his Jiangshi companions began charging forward. Seiko tied up her hair and said she would get her bag while the 2 of them should hold off the Minotaur, to which Payase commented that this would be difficult, while Kashimoto responded that he had no choice but to exploit a guardian spirit. As the Jiangshi approached them, the image of a rooster began to form on his left side, while he uttered the words Afuhumza. After a moment, he sent it towards the charging zombies, which sent them flying effortlessly. Due to that punch, Kashimoto managed to disintegrate the first one it hit. Seiko quickly helped in exterminating the Jiangshi, and she ordered Payase to cover her. More Jiangshi continued to charge, but as they rushed forward, their shadows suddenly pierced through their bodies and went through their crowns, and this happened to them one by one while a black shadow slithered on the ground beneath them. After that, Payase emerged from this shadow and commented that they should be careful of their shadows while the bisected Jiangshi fell. He said that he cloaked himself in darkness, and then he swept away the darkness. The bull with the muscular body prepared to charge while commenting that it was amazing and he wanted that ability too, to which Payase shouted that he was a moron. He pointed out to him that his body was like a Kotaku curse poison, which wasn't just some power that could be used by this twerp of a bull. Payase sent his thorn attack towards the Minotaur, and he tried to target its groin. However, it didn't work and didn't even pierce through the monster's briefs, which made him comment about how hard it was down there. As a counter, the Minotaur suddenly grabbed him by the arm and started pulling him out of the ground he was sticking to. After that, it delivered a powerful left hook to his body, and due to its strength, it managed to separate his body from his darkness bodysuit. While Payase was being thrown back, Seiko and Kashimoto charged forward, where Kashimoto told Seiko to stay back. He prepared to send another Afuhumza attack, and it solidly hit the Minotaur's face. He followed it with consecutive powered-up punches with boxer-like moves, which made Payase shout that his attack was working. However, Seiko told him not to lower his guard, but it was too late when she said that because at that moment, the Minotaur had already managed to stop Kashimoto using a solid right straight to his body. The monster's fist was imprinted on Kashimoto's body while it commented that he was marvelous and challenged him to strike more. This worried Payase and made him pause briefly in helping Seiko, so she immediately shouted at him not to stop. She told him to take care of the small fried Jiangshi, which annoyed him. While fighting, Seiko noticed that she was close to her bag, so when Payase sent his thorn attack at the zombies, she quickly ran towards it. Payase continued helping her create a pathway, while she remained focused on reaching her bag. When she got close to it, she jumped to avoid the last Jiangshi in her path. However, as she reached for her bag, she received a powerful kick from the Minotaur that slammed her into the wall and made her drop her bag. The monster commented that her movements were suspicious and he could see that some trickery was coming with that bag. While it was still facing Seiko, Kashimoto tried to send another Afuhumza, but the Minotaur easily noticed and stopped him while shouting not to get his hopes up. After that, the Minotaur kicked Seiko's bag upward to catch it, But when he was about to catch it, Payase sneakily tried to grab it from the Minotaur's shadows. Unfortunately, the Minotaur still managed to stop him by destroying the ground while commenting that he had now reached the state of ultimate hotness. Because of this, Payase dropped the bag and it started flying, which caught the Minotaur's attention. Seiko tried to get it, but she was quickly stopped by the monster with a bear hug to her body, leaving her with no choice but to scream in pain. The monster shouted that he had caught her, while she could only groan in pain as the monster's embrace gradually tightened. The Minotaur said she should accept her defeat, because if not, he would continue crushing her with his bear hug until her organs burst and scattered. Suddenly, Seiko shouted for Kashimoto to do what he needed to do, which caught the monster's attention, whereupon Kashimoto quickly rushed from behind and immediately used his Afuhumza on the Minotaur. It hit solidly and Seiko endured the heat from this attack, while the monster shouted that they should just surrender because Kashimoto's attack was going through him and affecting Seiko as well. Furthermore, he said those attacks were only making him stronger and harder. Seiko shouted at Kashimoto not to stop despite the damage she was taking from this, so Kashimoto pushed through with all his strength. The Minotaur commented again and said that his attack didn't hurt at all, not even an itch could be felt, and he shouted that he was iron and the more you attack him, the stronger he becomes. However, unexpectedly for the monster, while Kashimoto continued delivering his fiery attack, Payase quickly followed up with his Darkness Hands attack, which shattered and cut through its heating arms. The Minotaur screamed in shock and pain at what he endured, and he began to disbelieve what was happening. He thought he had built up to the ultimate level of hardness, so he asked how did this happen? Payase answered him that the stronger the light becomes, the deeper the darkness grows. Kashimoto also asked this monster if he knew why humans feel things like pain, cold, and heat, and it was because so they wouldn't die. He explained that if a person doesn't realize when they've reached their limit, their body will end up in ruins before they know it, just like what happened to the monster's body now. The monster shouted that this couldn't be, because the more they attacked him, the hotter and stronger he became. Kashimoto questioned what he said about getting hot and how odd that was. He explained that his flames could go down to absolute zero, and he called it ice flame. When iron's temperature drops, he said it becomes more susceptible to hydrogen penetration and cracks more easily. Seiko slowly stood up while reaching for something in her bag and asking if this monster knew how much he had made her suffer. Seiko pulled out a talisman that wards off evil spirits and misfortune, and she said it had been quite a while since she was beaten up like this, while calling the monster a son of a bitch. While placing this talisman on the monster's face, she pointed out that he said he wanted to fight someone tough. The monster begged her to wait and said this wasn't who he wanted to destroy, and when he was about to say who he was actually pursuing, it was cut off when Seiko kicked him in the face while adding that if that's the case, then this asshole should fight a god. And there you have it. The monster got a taste of a massive kick after beating up Seiko. Now that they have defeated a formidable enemy, what kind of being will be the next obstacle in their quest to find the Uchiha no Kazuchi magic hammer? Let's wait and see.